Are you a consultant? Are you interested in partnering with AI companies? Recently, I had the opportunity to join Mike Gioia, one of the co-founders of Pickaxe, a tool that we use and a sponsor of our Gen AI University Scale with AI Summit Series, to break things down with how I have approached partnering with AI companies over the years, starting from Jasper back in early 2021 to a number of different examples over the years. This interview is basically just a share of how I've approached the process of developing strategic partnerships with different AI companies, different brands, and curating these partnerships and cultivating a community to create an ecosystem that allows these partnerships to live on and add a lot of value to those that are subscribed to our community, subscribed on YouTube, and more. So if you are into AI and consulting, then I think you will get a lot out of this interview. At the very least, give you some ideas about how you can create more strategic partnerships with AI companies in your industry. All right, let's dive in.
So here we are. All of you probably know me, or maybe you don't. Maybe I'm just an email in your inbox. But I'm Mike. I'm one of the co-founders of Pickaxe. And we've been doing several of these webinars we made a lot of content about like how to use Pickaxe, how to do X, how to do Y. We're starting to do more and more content around what a lot of you are doing, which is starting profitable AI businesses, AI consultancies, which is a new idea. It didn't really exist before. And part of that is definitely selling AI products like Pickaxe or making clients products. But part of it is just being part of this whole AI ecosystem. It's a really big opportunity that everybody has. Never before could someone who didn't know how to code get a job as a coder, as a vibe coder. And the people that understand this technology and AI, and especially understand the human element of it, how to provide value to people with AI tools, which is complicated actually, there's a big opportunity for them. So we've been having this whole webinar series. We had one about how to sell AI to large organizations. And this one's all about how to partner with AI companies. Because a lot of you are probably, you're not just making tools, you're probably trying to put on events, maybe have ecosystems, all sorts of things. So we've brought in the man, the myth, and the legend, Darby Rollins, to talk about this. He'll tell you all about his history, which is fascinating. Become highlights that jump out to me. He was literally the first user of Jasper AI. So this is before November 2023. So before, or 2022. So it was before ChatGPT even came out and was a big thing. So he's been in the AI game for a while. And he also has like tons of clients, and he runs Gen AI University and puts on large summits, and he's able to get really cool companies like Pickaxe, even cooler than Pickaxe, if you can imagine such a thing, to participate in his events. So he really knows how to connect people and organizations in the AI community and create valuable partnerships. So I'm going to turn it over to him, but just a couple pieces of housekeeping. Darby's going to basically roll through everything with you. We've turned people's microphones off, but if you have questions, just put them in the chat and we'll answer them time allows. And at the very end, we'll open up to a broader Q&A. So without further ado, here is Darby.
Thank you so much, Mike. Thanks so much for having me on and for everyone here tuning in with us. See a lot of familiar faces, see a lot of new faces. So I'll start with just a little bit of background and context. Mike mentioned being part of the growth of Jasper from the very beginning as their very first customer. Definitely wasn't in AI before that. And so a little bit about who I am. Again, my name is Darby Rollins. I am an entrepreneur, and I founded Gen AI University in 2021, shortly after becoming Jasper AI's first paying user at the very end of December 2020. Because at that time I was running an e-commerce consultancy, an agency where I was specializing in being a strategic creative director to build Amazon listings. A lot of work, a lot of listings, a lot of copy, and I was pretty burnt out. And so at that point in time, I had the opportunity to check out this tool, which was then called Conversion AI, and it was then called Jarvis. And then Disney came after Jasper for using the free Jarvis. So they had to change to the name Jasper. And that's history now. I got this opportunity basically because I was living with Jasper's CMO at the time, Austin Distel, who is one of my best friends, and he was actually the officiant at my wedding this past year. That was the very beginning of the starting point of where Jasper became in January 2021, which over the next 18 months ended up, I think, raising a $150 million Series A at a $1.5 billion valuation. They had an incredibly explosive growth at that time, one of the fastest growing startups in the history of startups from Y Combinator. And the momentum from starting Jasper stemmed from me being frustrated and trying to figure out how do I stand apart inside of a world where everyone says they can build AI listings. I was like, I need to write a book to be able to show people that I know what I'm talking about this. And I said, I'm going to just lock myself in my room for this weekend. I'm going to use Jasper to help me write a book. I wrote this 100 and maybe 110 page short little book about Amazon copywriting, like writing listings for Amazon to sell more products. And I shared that with the community and apparently struck a chord because all the other business consultants, all the other business owners, and people that especially haven't written books before were like, how do I use AI to help me with writing a book? I have a story in my head. I have a process that I can share. I want to use a book to build my business. And so that's what initially started a 7-day book challenge, which compounded into different monthly trainings and workshops over the next 18 months or so. And then Jasper raised its round about a month before ChatGPT came out. ChatGPT hit the scene, and it feels like everything just exploded in terms of awareness about AI. And through this time, I have a community, and a lot of people here on this call right now from that community in Gen AI University, where we have been fostering an ecosystem through virtual events and now in-person events to bring together different AI products, brands that are leveraging and integrating AI, and other entrepreneurs, other consultants, and other creators to effectively like grow their business in some way, shape, or form with AI. And so one of the things, and when talking to Mike about coming and presenting on this topic of how to partner with AI companies that I've been thinking about this week is, where does it all really stem from? And I can point back to a few very specific situations that I think will be helpful in terms of how you may be able to take my experience and apply it to a situation that you may see some similarity to on your end for making some of these partnerships happen. And at the end of the day, these partnerships all happened as a result of direct one-on-one relationships with somebody else that was either a founder or like a marketing officer or an executive at one of these companies, or they were looking for people to bring into their organization. One example of this before ChatGPT hit the scene was working with Jasper to help them develop templates, which now with a tool like Pickaxe, you guys can build any number of templates, like a template to create an output that you could do with Jasper at the beginning for like very early on, super basic stuff in terms of writing an Amazon listing with Amazon like product bullets. I was then introduced to the idea of working with another professional copywriter named John Benson, who in terms of direct response marketing and copywriting is a legend in the space. And he had a company at the time called Copy Pro. He's now transitioned that into a product called Benson, BNSN.ai, if you are interested in checking it out. We're trying to figure out how to make his Copy Pro product more integrated with AI systems. And he had tried to develop stuff in the past, but Jasper was on the cutting edge of this stuff with how they were integrating AI. And the idea for that partnership literally stemmed from a member of our community that said, hey, Jasper is great, but what if we could create a full sales letter with it in the style of John Benson? I was like, I don't know. I guess we could see if we could do that. And so I reached out to somebody that I knew through a mastermind. And I said, hey, I know you've worked with John Benson before. Would you mind, do you think he'd be open to a conversation about a potential collaboration with a company like Jasper? That introduction came from a referral, which then over the course of the next 6 months or so, we ended up developing an integration with John Benson and his mini VSL template and framework with Jasper. And then right around that time, ChatGPT hit the scene. And so we started figuring out, hey, with John, how do we use ChatGPT now plus Jasper to like helping your clients using Copy Pro create better copy to sell stuff. And in that case of partnerships, I was effectively being a DV deal broker. I saw one company here and one company here who one had an audience that was looking for ways to use Jasper more effectively in their business. And then John and his customers wanted to be able to write better copy. And if we could figure out a way to make Jasper talk to his software, then it was going to be a win. And we were able to do that. And so both of those started from like a direct relationship with me and somebody working at the company, and then understanding what were the problems that their customer base was currently experiencing, and how can I create content, or how can I find somebody that has already created content or tools that could help with solving that problem. And from that initial kind of partnership between John Benson and Jasper and creating the mini VSL framework inside of Jasper, things continued to speed up with AI. John was one of the speakers at our very first Scale with AI Summit back in, I think that was 2022, again, right before ChatGPT came out. And this ties into my second theme. Besides just the one-on-one relationships, hosting events has been an incredibly valuable thing to do inside of my business that has opened up more opportunities for more relationships, for more partnerships, and especially building our channel on YouTube that people watch videos, tutorials, demonstrations of how to use these tools. So going back to that first Scale It with AI Summit was I think it was like a 3-day event. We had 15 plus speakers at it from all talking about all sorts of ways to use AI at that time in their business. From that event, I had the opportunity to collaborate with UC Berkeley's Changemaker program to develop a course for them in their spring semester, along with one of my partners, Kelly Tenney, to develop a curriculum, again, for the UC Berkeley Changemaker program. That opportunity came from us putting on a virtual event at the end of the day, and being early on with showing people how to actually use these tools in their business. And when I look back and think about the different like stepping stones of projects that have like kind of one project has happened and another partnership has come as a result of it, is they just tend to compound over time. And the deeper of relationships that I can form with different people and partners and AI tools that have really good products and a customer base already, the conversation is not a difficult one to open up. If you say, hey, I have an audience that uses your product, love your tool, and they want to see more of it, and you want to get in front of more people like my audience, what can we do to make that happen? The Scale with AI Summit, coincidentally happening next week when we're recording this right now, but it's an ongoing event and a podcast series from our YouTube channel. That summit itself gives us the capacity to support sponsors coming in and hosting private workshops. Gamma, which is a very popular AI presentation and website building tool, has a very large user base. And most of our audience, not most of, I don't know the exact statistic behind it, but a large number from people that are inside of our community and our YouTube channel either are using Gamma or in some way, shape, or form have compared it with other AI presentation builders. And I personally love using Gamma. And so for me, if I'm looking at what kind of companies do I even want to partner with, I'm going to look at what am I already using? Like what are the tools and the products that I would already get behind and support? And if you're already using tools inside of your tech stack that you love and want to like work with more, I would recommend starting there because you already have experience with the product and you probably know how to sell the product. And if you could sell the product better than the company could sell it themselves to even just one person, you can get behind that product and champion it and build partnerships with those companies as a result of your support for that product. And so Gamma was a partner, platinum sponsor for this Summit series for 2025. They were our platinum sponsor for the 2024 Summit series. And we're very open to working with creators. They foster a large community of creators, and they listen to their audience, their users, and they've been raising money to grow their business fast and stay ahead of the game. They're investing heavily into the growth of their business and supporting their, I want to say, I saw the number, which sounds ridiculous, and I might be wrong here, but I saw that they had something like 40 million active users. Like, to me, that just blows my mind. That many people are using some of these tools, but when you look at how impactful some of these tools are, and if you're already using them in your business, like, those are great opportunities to think about ways that you can create value for them without them needing to do anything, but use that as a way to add value in advance, start to build that relationship, and be strategic. How can you make this a win for everybody? I want to win hosting the summit. Gamma wants to win getting more exposure, but my audience also wants to win in making sure that they understand these different tools that are coming through them. And so people join our summit and people join our community because they trust the type of content that I bring and share inside of our community, and the type of people and experts that I support and work with. And Mike, you're a great example of this as well with Pickaxe, because I used your tool. Other people in our community used your tool. I asked my mastermind before the last summit, hey, I'm looking for potential sponsors or collaboration partners for the upcoming summit. And one of our members is, hey, I can get in touch with Mike. I'll see if I can make an introduction for you. And that just goes to show, I think, when you're looking at creating any sort of partnership as like a consultant with an AI company, even if you don't know somebody directly at a company, you might know somebody that knows somebody. And so, like, thinking very specifically, you're not here to spam blast 10,000 different AI companies that have all created a tool to go and create partnerships and burn yourself out doing that. Maybe there's a way to do it in that way. I would prefer to be a lot more direct with these types of strategic partners, because to me, it's the start of a long-term ongoing relationship where the co-creation and the collaboration like leads into other opportunities. And it takes time and effort to put together some of these relationships. If I had an easy button for it, I'd share that with you, but I don't. It's a matter of knowing who you want to work with, identifying that like actually a good product. It's not like hype flash in the pan that's just going to fall away. Actually using the product, and then even using AI to help you come up with ways that you could like add value to what they're looking for. Like, you can use AI to research companies and identify ways that maybe they're running initiatives that you could make an introduction for, or you already have an audience or an ecosystem that you're nurturing and educating and sharing AI tools with. Just like people put on podcasts to build relationships and do that as a medium to build and connect with new people and share information with their community. If you have those types of channels set up and handle the distribution of the content that you're creating, it just makes it that much easier for a potential partner to say yes, to have that initial conversation. And then, of course, playing the long game, we're not looking to just, again, there's a short game and there's a long game, right? And I'm not expecting to just, like, me, it would be a failure if I ran the last summit and I got the sponsors that we did, and then none of the sponsors wanted to re-sign back on. So my number one focus for the last summit and everything that revolved around was about fulfilling on my promise to deliver an exceptional event and do it in a way that put the sponsors in great light and brought a lot of value to our community. We succeeded at that, and all of our sponsors re-upped for the next summit. And so, like, for me, that's how I'm measuring success with these relationships and making sure that I'm creating and bringing that value with those types of event sponsorships. And then on the flip side, a lot of these companies, even if they're not necessarily in a position to sponsor and pay a certain amount to be an event sponsor and run it in that model. Where's I going with that? I just had something to tie that into. My head's going off over here with that sponsorship. Oh, referral programs. Most of these companies that are at that established point have some sort of affiliate marketing program. And so you can sign up for these companies. Like Descript is another one I would love to work with at a deeper level and a deeper partnership. We're not there yet, but I use Descript so much, and I'm now an affiliate of their program, and I'm going to be creating content specifically to how we're creating and distributing our content under our YouTube channels throughout the summit. And if that turns into something where they're an official sponsor one day, maybe not. But if I'm starting to drive sales their way and subscribers to their software program, that's only going to do me good for opening up a conversation and building that relationship in between landing a much larger, maybe a longer term type of partnership that's more official in some way, shape, or form. And all of it comes down to, in my case, sticking with building the community from the beginning. The community's always been our foundation for how we've been training and nurturing our audience, but putting the spotlight also on other people and building the ecosystem, because there are so many smart people inside of our community and outside of it that are doing incredible things with AI. I want to showcase more of that on our channels. And that's kind of ecosystem idea, I think, comes into play with, even if it's not happening right now in terms of landing a major AI company deal, or something might take a little bit longer to finalize how that's going to look in terms of an official partnership. Having some sort of community or some sort of, it doesn't have to be very big either, but just some sort of way that you can continue to maintain that relationship and investing and cultivating and sharing what you're learning as an AI consultant is going to keep you top of mind one way or the other whenever the right opportunities come up to work with you or to introduce somebody to you, or not. I saw so many people during like ChatGPT boom that all of a sudden became incredible AI experts. It was insane to me how many experts there were, like almost literally overnight, in ChatGPT prompting. And I'm trying to even remember who some of them are now, because I don't see like most of them that just came out, oh, that was cool, trendy, and now they're not there anymore. As opposed to those that are sticking around and building their audiences and building their channels. Like, there's a lot to be said for sticking in this for the long haul, and it's not always going to be easy. And that's why I focused on the community and the partnerships, and in keeping it something that we can continue to grow with the partners that will invest back in us as we're creating content that's going to support growing their business, because we're helping educate their audience. We're helping create content that keeps them top of mind for our community. And the more that I can help my partners win, the more that I know that our community will win, and everybody wins as a result of that. That's most of how I approach the process, is through thinking how I can either create leverage or put together two and two so that there can be value here, even if I'm just in the middle and taking a smaller cut as a second tier affiliate in some cases, or in more official sponsorship. But then just showing people and being helpful and educational with how people can actually use these AI tools in your specific niche is only going to keep you top of mind and building those relationships and adding value, either simply as an affiliate with referrals for those tools, or something that could turn into like much larger, higher ticket consulting, depending on what type of partnership and what type of business you're going for. I don't tend to work with like any like massive enterprise level companies. I've seen some of the contracts that some of those consultants could land with those in integrating AI, and there's a lot of money to be had all over the place. I think for me, any consultant that's getting into it and like, where do I even start, is like, who you want to serve and like the problem that you're solving, and then how can you find the right tools to help solve that problem. That's no different than before AI was here. Now we have a lot more advanced tools to help us with solving those problems faster, adding more value to the clients that we are serving. You don't forget those human to human connections are what people are craving right now more than ever, especially in the age where everyone's trying to automate and out-human themselves from the business. Like, I like leaning into those that are like, let's be more human here. Let's actually connect with our customers. Let's do these events face to face. Let's be in this brand and in this business together. And I'm going to attract the people that are in line with that, and people that aren't, fine. Definitely not for everybody. But if you're not clear on the problem that you're solving and who you're solving it for, or if you don't care about the people you're solving it for, then you're gonna have a hard time making any of these partnerships work, in my opinion. But I think there's just so much opportunity to show people how to just use these in their day to day. And if you can do that effectively, and if you can communicate non-technically for the average business owner, like how this tool can work for them, then an AI company that is super technical, which most of them are, you can talk to all these SaaS companies, brilliant people, and a lot of them just want to keep building and stuff. And they have these affiliate programs too, but like, if you can be their salesman, they're going to happily want to talk to you and work with you. If you're like, I want to sell more of your product to more of my people, let's talk. Some sort of intro like that's probably going to help with opening the door. And then if you're already creating content around it and already creating value, it's going to make it that much easier for them to say, yes, let's chat. Maybe pause there, Mike. I'm about all I had bulleted out here on my notes. Want to make sure we're checking in with anybody in the comments, any questions.
I think that's great. I think that's kind of how we think. I can provide the company perspective quickly, which is with all these, it'll be hard to partner with OpenAI because they're inundated. But for companies smaller than that, for example, for Pickaxe's perspective, we really want to engage with the community. We want to put on webinars. We want to do a lot of this stuff. We're not in a position where we can hire a full-time community manager. So at a lot of these startups, like you said, these people are wearing a lot of hats. So whenever we have someone reach out and say, hey, can I do part of this job for you for free, pretty much, but I'll get some value, like we'll work something out where we both get what we want, we're pretty much always open to that because you're doing work for us, right? It's been a great growth strategy for Pickaxe and a lot of AI companies where you have people that have ecosystems, that maybe they have a community of people that they're teaching, or maybe they just have like two companies they work with. And anytime someone is willing to do part of our job for us, like bring a tool to someone for education, it's usually a no-brainer for us. It's great. And then the more you work, the more you do those relationships, the bigger both of you get, and you can play at a higher and higher level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with these companies, I'm reading some through the comments here to make sure we're addressing a few of like metrics that I see Ron asking that I think will be relevant to this, like what to look for in a potential like company that you would want to work with anyways. The question from Ron is there a metric related to potential partner that we should drive towards? Example, referrals, presentations with their app, total members, community. My answer is they've probably got to have an established user base. If they already have an affiliate program that is legit and they pay people out and they're easy to get in touch with, especially as maybe like a smaller kind of startup. That's one indicator. If they've already got a referral program set up and like they're on like a partner stack, which is I think what Gamma uses right now. There's a few other like pretty reputable platforms that will help companies setting up referral programs, setting up links. I'm not sure what Pickaxe is using right now. I'm blanking on that, Mike.
Even affiliate program. I don't know the underlying software we use, but it's pretty simple. You just get a link and then you get payouts based on how much someone bought, whether they got.
Yeah, and most companies will keep like a footer saying like, this is my affiliates, sign up here, and you could sign up there. And depending on what stage they're at, they may have an affiliate manager, which is probably the person you'd want to connect with if they had a title like you asked Ron, like a JV coordinator or affiliate manager. Companies that are starting to like expand and like maybe, I don't know the employee count necessarily, but I know as Jasper started to take off, they did bring in an affiliate manager to help with growing and managing the affiliate program specifically. But some companies also may have somebody along the lines of a JV coordinator or a partnership manager, a strategic partner director, or something along those lines. Probably be a good question to jump into like Perplexity and see like, I'm looking for these type of AI companies. Can you provide me a list of relevant titles that I should be looking for or be aware of? So it's on your radar from that point. But community wise, like Gamma stood out to me immediately. And the reason I knew that they would be receptive to partnering as a sponsor was because they were actively engaging with their creator community, and they put together a Slack channel for them. They were inside of the Slack channel. They had multiple threads where they were sharing different bugs, different feature updates, different things. Very transparent in terms of that. 1 second.
You cut out for me, Darby. I don't know if you cut out for other people.
I need to change my battery for a second.
You can answer a question real quick while you do that. Another thing I would say is just make these things simple. Like you're talking to a company as small as Pickaxe. We read every single email. So you'll probably reach the founders just by hitting the info email and these sorts of things. But just make the emails simple. When there's like a 15-paragraph proposal, it's very hard. And if you want to brainstorm with me about what you could do, that's fun, but it's more work for me. So this is the less work you can make it. Just make it an easy yes for these companies. the better. Just be like, hey, I'm doing this date, would love you to join, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing this, these sorts of things. I have a little bit of experience from the other side of this as well. There's an AI film conference that I help program in LA every year, and we try to get sponsors for it, and we just try to make it very simple and reach out to them and just be like, hey, we want you to join this panel, or we want you to do this. And that's our third year that we've done so far with this conference. What I can say is the first year we gave a lot of freebies out just to build the relationship, just exactly what Darby was saying, under the idea that Pickaxe is this big this year, but it'll be this big the next year and the next year. So you really do want to take a long-term view, exactly what Darby's saying. You want to pick companies that you like, and you like the people that work there and the direction. Maybe they're too small to actually give you money this year, or too small to do something, but the next year they'll get bigger and bigger. And then you're in on the ground floor, basically.
One of the ways and the things that we've developed, and I'm blanking if we mentioned this earlier, Mike, but the freebie for everybody here that wants it is inside of our community. That is this book. It's on Amazon too, but it's just free if you join our community, called Buyer's Brief. This book has effectively been my lead in to opening the conversation with other companies that are integrating AI or looking at ways that I can add value to them as a result of something that I've already built. And so we have a version with this now with Pickaxe, but before Pickaxe, we were building a system called Market Sauce, which is effectively a market research method where we use different AI prompts and frameworks to entrepreneurs and small business owners get inside the mind of the market. I use these reports to help with like leading with value in advance when and it changes depending on everybody that I'm talking to. But if I'm talking to a company that is, I'll use Shelly as an example. Shelly is a small business consultant and had clients that need help with coming up with marketing campaigns and creating like messaging that's going to speak directly to that target audience. So Shelly and I created a partnership where we like basically sold versions of these reports as a value added to her services to her clients. And so now Shelly is adding AI into her business as an AI consultant, and she's becoming a go-to for helping deliver this type of service. That is one opportunity for you to use AI to open the conversation as a business to partner as a consultant, right? Use sort of framework that you've developed. And now we can even use Pickaxe to develop them almost instantly. You can use these tools to help with creating this value that, again, before, like, I'm not going to spend an hour doing one of these reports for every single new potential client or partner. But AI has got it down to literally a matter of 30 seconds, depending on how fast you fill out the content brief. And so I shared my example because you watching this as an AI consultant probably have a framework or two, if you've been doing this for any length of time, that you know your clients get good results from when they do what you say and help them implement it. What sort of approach could you take with that rather than going straight to a small business consultant? But how could you take that same approach knowing that you have these tools available to you like Pickaxe, or you can figure it out with make.com, OpenAI, and doing stuff like that. And if not you, there's plenty of smart people that can do that you can work with and partner with. But an AI company might be like, have a missing link somewhere that you could come and be like, hey, I found this opportunity that we could actually help you get more customers. I don't know if Robert's on here, but something that he does that I know others are doing effectively as well is reactivation campaigns, reviving dead lists that a company might be sitting on. And we were talking about a SaaS company or an AI company that has been spending a ton of money on marketing, or maybe like in some way, shape, or form, or maybe they've got customers coming in, but if they're not doing like effective follow-up for those leads, or if they're letting some leads just kind of sit there and not do anything, and maybe they think they're dead leads, that's a prime opportunity to come in and potentially reactivate some of those leads. A really easy way to say yes is that they don't even have to pay you until somebody, like, the money hits the bank account from them getting reactivated. If they have an affiliate link, then you can use that to track your reactivations. They're pretty simple campaigns to set up, but that's another way that you could approach opening a conversation with a company that if they're getting 100 new users a month or 1,000 new users a month, like what opportunity is maybe just falling through the cracks after they're getting these leads that they've already paid for, that you might be able to identify opportunities to do. You could customize a plan like that with tools available to you, with company information, with having an introductory call with the founder or somebody on sales. But now you're talking about how can I find more money in your business that you've already paid for, but it's just sitting there because you're not doing anything with these dead leads. One example. Not every company is going to take it by a situation, but I just see all the time leads here. It's been sitting for 3 months, and what are you doing with them after they've canceled? So there's different campaigns that you can run now with these tools. That again, before AI, this was still a thing. Now you can analyze lists, you can write copy and emails and messaging and follow up, and you can do it in a fraction amount of the time that you could do it. And so like, where are you looking to add value for? What's the problem that you're looking to solve with that company? And do you already have maybe a lot of the resources available, the frameworks that you've already developed that you could use and lead with value to open those conversations? But again, like, you got to keep it short and sweet, and like make it super easy for them to say yes, like right out the gate. Like in Mike's case, yeah, we're putting on this event. We're going to invite our entire community. Probably expected 300 live, well, registered live from the last one, but it's going to live on YouTube and get a lot of views after the summit. Are you interested? Like, we'll handle all the post-production. We'll handle everything here, all the graphics. All you got to do is show up. And Mike, in your case, you're a game to do a few more demos. Not everyone has that time. And so the easier you can make it on that front end,
footprint is a big thing too. It's like, if you're going to make a video for us, that's awesome because we can use it. And pretty much anytime there's someone who wants to talk about our product online for us, like they do like a detailed LinkedIn post or something, we're totally into it. And I have friends who have been on the other side of this. Like I have this friend, and when Luma Labs came out, they have like AI video model. She was just posting like big Twitter threads, really long ones about like the output she was getting and what she was doing and tips and tricks. And they're pretty popular. They weren't like viral, but now she works as like their main community manager because basically she was doing that job for them for free. And just anytime you can offer an AI company value, especially a startup, they don't ignore that because we're always drowning with too much work. And anytime there's someone doing work for us, it's amazing.
Yeah, the visual I have in my head, Mike, is like every entrepreneur or small business owner that's running something that has all these plates spinning. You walk up to them like, you look like you're spinning a lot of plates. Would you like to spin 3 more? They'd be like, no, get out of here. But if you're like, hey, it looks like you're spinning a lot of plates. Can I like take a few off of those? Like, would you be cool with that? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Oh, and you doing it for free, or you're doing it on like a revenue sharing basis, or oh, and you can do it for a fraction of what it would cost me for this other guy who quoted me 10 times that. Like, depending on how you're opening the conversation, that is gonna vary. But the more plates you can take off from them having to spin, the higher your chances are gonna be to just get the conversation open.
When you reached out, Darby, or like when Darby reached out, he has a real big reputation and he has this like well-developed ecosystem. So it was a no-brainer. But there's lesser versions of that too. Like next week, we're doing another webinar just about how to build lead generation tools with a guy named Drew Donaldson. And he's not really at your level, Darby, but he reached out. And he had like an idea for how to do this webinar, and he had some other ideas, and it's a no-brainer for us. So we're happy to do it. By the way, I've turned people's microphones on, or the ability to turn them on if you want to hop in with a question. But first, we'll answer this question from Travis. So to me and you, Darby, he says, in your experience, what content format has been the most effective in driving engagement and revenue for AI partnerships? YouTube videos, webinars, challenges, online courses, summits, live events?
Think for a second on that one.
My answer would be whatever you are in the best position to do. So if you can do a live event, that's awesome. But if you have 100 people that live in 100 different countries, then obviously don't do one. Or if you have a school group where there's a lot of people, or you have an email list. So basically whatever you can do best, I think is what you should focus on, because all of those different formats you mentioned would be interesting from my point of view to an AI company if they're done reasonably well.
Yeah, we've had success with all of the formats, the YouTube, the webinar, the 5, 7-day challenges, courses, summits, and live events. It really is varied in terms of which one like did more at a certain time, like, and what was being sold and like what was like the next thing afterwards. And that was a lot of our learning experience from the initial 7-day book challenges. Was we would lead with that, but we didn't, at the time that we were running those challenges, the community was still on the back end of it, but it was much, much smaller in the early side of it. So we ended up running these challenges on a more regular basis, but it ended up being like a burnout kind of event, because you'd run them hardcore for 7 days, but if I'm the one hosting it every 7 days, you can see how like that on a monthly basis can get just physically and mentally exhausting if you're actually doing a challenge like that yourself, but incredibly effective for engagement and getting like a container together that gets people results and has a clear goal and timeline on it. And so those types of events led to so many different types of partnerships or opportunities or people joining the community literally since 2022. Like, we still have people from our community from those really early days when we were running those events. I personally like have seen probably like webinars are great depending on the audience and the medium and like what's being offered on the back end of them. Like it really, there's so many variables here with each one of these that I think you have to consider like who you're talking to in the first place and like what are they going to engage with, because we've also ran courses that have completely fallen flat and like people like just totally drop off like an 8-week program, and maybe it drove a little bit more revenue up front because it was a longer program, but then the actual success of some of those wasn't congruent with like where we wanted to continue putting our time. And so a lot more micro content, and then even with these summits we're like condensing the time of each one of the sessions down so that you can get the actionable item and you can go and take action on it. But all of the summit content now, for us anyway, in our strategy, is designed to live on YouTube so that it has this evergreen ecosystem being built over time. And I'm a big fan of YouTube because you do the work once, and there's a big difference between half-assing it on YouTube and like really focusing on something that can do the best that you can do, right? You get better with these different channels. This is ridiculous. Like battery life.
And the shelf life of a good YouTube video is great and really good SEO. So especially if you have a product that people are probably having queries that have gamma in it all the time. So if you can capture keywords, you're providing them value, but you're just getting a constant flux of people.
If you're looking for tools that are picking up steam too, YouTube is a great, because everyone goes to YouTube to look up tutorials on these things. And so if you use vidIQ, which is the tool I would recommend anyone using YouTube to use, just plugs into your channel. You can optimize your video titles, and you could literally type Pickaxe AI and see what are the monthly keyword trends. You could type in gamma, you could see what's the monthly keyword trends. For example, a tool that's like blowing up recently, Lovable for low code app building, is just like the search volume for it's going straight up. And so you can kind of, okay, these are what people are asking for. These are what people are searching. Oh, there's actually a lot of competition for this right now because it's gotten to a certain degree.
Funny Pickaxe trivia. Our two top videos as far as organic keyword traffic, not the most watched videos, the ones that get the most searches on YouTube. How to get an OpenAI API key, how to get a Claude API key. And people, like thousands of people watch it every month, and then a lot of them actually end up signing up for Pickaxe. It's just kind of, that's because those are massive companies, and people every day are looking up things around those.
Yeah, like you type like how to use GPT-4 or deep search for XYZ use case, and again, like depending on like what's the search intent behind what people are finding you through. You don't necessarily need to go viral and get tons and tons of views on videos to have them be effective. Like for one of our affiliate partners on our channel right now, I just realized last week that I wasn't signed up for their affiliate account, and their video has been one of the more popular from the last summit. And so I went and signed up for it, and now we've got a few affiliate sales being attributed back to us just by putting that in the YouTube description for people that are interested in using this tool. And that video is literally going to live there forever. And YouTube is a hard game to get traction on, in my experience. There's plenty of people that have built much bigger channels in their time, and I'm sure we're going to continue to grow with where things are at right now. But it's a harder channel to get started with versus just like whipping up an Instagram account. And there is a lot that would go into creating good videos that I had no idea about even like 6 months ago. It's a constant learning experience. But what I do like about YouTube is you can see where people drop off. You can see what videos are hitting better, where like the different elements that go into like actually having a successful video hit on YouTube. And if you're talking about some of the videos that get hundreds of thousands of views in the AI space, like haven't had any of my videos hit that just yet, but we get people that join our community or reach out to me for consulting inquiries on videos that have done less than 1,000 views. So it's like, the scale and the context and the contrast to where you're at specifically is, obviously beyond the scope of this, like what I can answer and like into right now. But for where your business is at, where your audience is at, and the type of content that they're searching for, putting a face to a YouTube channel is probably like some of the highest leverage content that you can create, because then you can create all of your content for all of your other channels based on that one video. Mm-hmm. And that's where we used the last summit to launch our podcast that was probably 2 years too late, or it could have been done 2 years ago, whatever. Best time to plant a tree 20 years ago, what they say. Summit was a mechanism that forced us to create the content and to dial the systems in to get the post-production down, to launch the podcast officially. And now this next summit is going to be a lot less initial lift on the content post-production, but these tools continue to develop and evolve, and there's always room to improve how we're building our YouTube channel and our content strategy. And so like with anything, it's a constant learning, it's a constant innovation, constant iteration. And the more I think that you can be open to adapting to change, especially as an AI consultant, you're the person that these companies or people that don't even like work with a consultant yet that need AI in their business. Like you need to be able to be informed and like able to not, if you don't know the answers, you got Perplexity and deep research and all in your pocket right now, right? But you need to know how to ask the right questions and be able to identify the right problems to solve. And if you know how to use AI to do that, you can be super effective in how you work with people. Now the question is, who do you want to work with, right? And I think like taking that away from our partnership conversation, really practical stuff here that I hope that you find some of this stuff practical and how you can go and start to engage with these conversations, but really just leading with value and seeing how you can provide a win-win type of strategic partnership going into it, and being willing to like take some time to build these relationships, because ongoing relationships with the right companies can years and years down the road, if you're playing the long game, then that's the place to invest, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I actually just thought of this other person I know while we were thinking. There was this guy I know named Chad Nelson who did this thing early when DALL-E first came out from OpenAI. He's kind of with Jasper, but he was like a early user. He was like a photographer before. Then he did DALL-E. He did like DALL-E daily with it. It was just an Instagram account, and every day he posted a DALL-E thing. It was like the early days. And now he is like I don't know exactly what his job title is, but he's now works at OpenAI, like managing Sora and DALL-E, just because he was like a normal guy who posted this every day, and then like actually was interested in the product and making it better and teaching people about it. And he was lucky enough to partner with OpenAI before it was a very popular thing, and now he's integral in their operation. So just follow your passions, and if you find a tool interesting, it's exactly what you've been saying, Darby. If you find a tool interesting, use it, talk to them, talk to people about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just find stuff that you believe in already. It's be a lot easier to sell than trying to pick something up just because they have a good affiliate program and you're like, this product sucks. Like, don't sell people
I
stuff.
have a question for you, Darby. Present company excluded. What are a couple AI companies that you think are really cool that are up and coming?
I don't know how up and coming you consider Cursor, but I've been like I've been digging more into Cursor for like coding aspect, taking like an MVP concept and actually what does it look like for like full production with this tool? It seems like it's next level. And so I'm excited. I'm really excited to get much more confident in being able to operate inside of Cursor myself. As technical as I can like sound and come off at times, I also have a ton of hesitation about getting super technical. And so one of my things for this year is just in general integration, being more comfortable with some of the coding, like actually understanding what JSON is, which if you're like used to like talking in code, that might sound like an easy thing to do, but if you're not, you're like, what's a JSON? Your name's Jason? No. And so cursor's one, but I know I still need to understand like basic coding language and like understand what's going on with these tools. And like I didn't realize that Cursor was doing the revenue that they were doing, but like I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. That's one company that I would say if you're doing AI coding in any sort of way, you probably want to be aware of. Is Claude cheating because they just keep coming out with really cool updates? No, I am looking at. We've talked about Lovable a little bit, but I think like another tool with Lovable is Bolt, because we're working a lot with like how to create these AI MVPs and creating interfaces with those that are customized and have different aspects where you can integrate AI. Certain tools are really great for certain types of things right now, and others, I don't even know what I want to create, but I have an idea in my head. And to me, I can prompt and get the context out there, but until I can visualize something on the front end, it just doesn't make it real as much for me. And then I don't like spending all of my time in a Figma design file building out a wireframe. And so with a tool like, I think that Bolt and Lovable are just going to be neck and neck for the while as what they're doing right now, and helping get that initial idea, visualize it, be able to like create a really beautiful functioning front end. That's only one part of the equation. And so I'm looking at ways that we can take that kind of a Bolt, Lovable front end workflow, get the MVP fleshed out, and then use Cursor to make it full-blown production ready and continue to build out on it. So I want to combo those tools together. And let me think of what's a third tool?
All those no code.
Oh, I got one.
Are really interesting, I think.
I am a visual person, and some tool that somebody put onto me a few months ago or inside of our mastermind, and then I tried it and I didn't get it, and I walked away for like 3 months, and then they brought it up again. I gave it a shot, and I loved it. It was called napkin.ai. And napkin.ai would let you basically set kind of like some brand color scheme context, and then you could take a text that you have that you write or whatever, and you can have it actually create an infographic based on that section of the text. Problem with every expert out there that doesn't have their frameworks in a really pretty beautiful infographic. Someone says, so what do you do? You're like, oh, well, let me tell you about my framework. And then someone like 5 minutes later, someone's like, what are you talking about? Let me see a picture of it. Napkin was a really cool experience. And if you guys go join the community at genaiuniversity.com/community, inside of the welcome kind of start here, that post I wrote and I built that entire post out with Lovable, not with Napkin, and to visualize each one of the sections of the text. And I think it just opens up a lot of opportunity for being able to visualize really specific things that if you need an icon for your website that maybe you don't want, like maybe an AI image generator isn't quite there yet, or maybe Gamma isn't going to have that. You just need to put an image in Gamma, right? But you know what you want to say. I think Napkin's going to have a lot of really cool use cases for.
This is slick. So basically it just makes really cool graphics for you.
Yeah.
Instead of saying that you need to go viral, instead of saying you need to convert, generate, post, explore, and go viral, it just makes this thing. That's cool.
Yeah, so you could write like a paragraph, like this is what we do, yada, 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 yada. And then it has a ton of these pre-built infographics that based on what you say, you can change, edit the text, and then you can make other modifications to it. But like how heady does like a paragraph of like this feature does this for you sound versus like, oh, 1, 2, 3. And it's like, oh yeah, I could have said that.
It's $0?
It's always free. How did they make money? I don't know.
Cool. I'm going to try this out after this call. I think I had heard about Napkin AI several months ago, and I remembered it mainly because the name was good.
Yeah, like your napkin sketch. So like, imagine taking a napkin sketch and then being like, okay, well, I can visualize the napkin sketch here, and then you could basically paste that into something like Bolt or Lovable, and then that would be able to create a visualized version of like user interface for an app. And you could use other tools like Claude or ChatGPT for some of that I think Claude's 3.7 sonnets is there. The reason I'm saying Bolt and Lovable, Suzanne, to your question, what's the difference between them? They are very similar, like neck and neck. Like you watch both these tools, one launches a sick feature one day, and then the next Bolt's like, they just released their like native integration to create an iOS app, like a mobile app directly from Bolt, with Lovable can't do right now. And that process would be a whole other thing. But by the time that this video drops, who knows if they would have released that. Like Lovable today, I think announced that they have native domains that you can so you can just sync up a domain. I think Pickaxe can do this. You just sync up a domain right inside of a Pickaxe, tie it to your Namecheap or your GoDaddy or wherever, and then you can be like, okay, deploy my app to findmyapp.com or whatever, and now it's all inside of there. It takes that technical step out a little bit. Like Gamma does the same thing for their websites, so. And that's probably a feature that the Bolt team is going to be like, I don't know, that they've both grown to like 10 million ARR or something like in an incredibly fast amount of time. And so they're building, and that's a show to watch if you want to watch some developers. Just they do a lot of stuff building in public, but they share a lot on LinkedIn if you follow any of those founders. Interesting to keep up with anyway. Ron, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, Darby, I'm just curious. I can see how us as small consultants and course developers supporting JV partners is great for them. It gets us publicity if we're out in one of their venues, one of their summits, something. I'm just wondering how, other than image, do JV partners refer back? For example, for 13, 17 years, I was one of Microsoft's first partners, and I supported their West Coast salespeople a great deal. And so as a consequence of supporting them, I ended up getting more business than I could handle because the partners would refer to me for their some really large clients like Arthur Andersen and Pacific Gas and Electric. Have you seen any situations like that other than maybe just sharing leads for courses?
Fulfilling on the referrals that you're getting?
Like getting referrals for client support, for development, for customized in-house training, things like that.
Just to clarify your question is like when you're getting maybe an abundance of leads, like how do you handle that in a way that if you're referring people
the other way? So how, like Mike gets, matter of fact, I just yesterday referred Pickaxe. I'm not using Pickaxe. One of my people that programs for me is, and I just yesterday referred two people to Pickaxe. But I'm just curious now, how can Pickaxe support me? By referring clients or something like that?
You probably want to sign up for Pickaxe's affiliate program.
Right.
So that you can just have that in place for a type of reason on that front.
Do many of them have like certified partner programs, things like that?
There are, I don't know, like many. I know like if they do have a certified partner program, then I'm trying to think of a good example. Because like Jasper did this at the beginning when I was inside the Facebook community, where they certified like 10 people inside the early community being Jasper. I was one of those, and that was kind of lead into their like Jasper certification program. And so depending on the company, like that certification program might hold more weight than others, or like companies might require like consultants. And I don't think Pickaxe has this, but maybe Pickaxe did have like a premium certification program of some sort that they would require you to go through to know that you're like expert level Pickaxe user, so that if Pickaxe got like
people are experts, but it's half baked at the moment. With our new redesign, those people have a lot more power. But it's basically that, though. The way we do it is we basically fund users coming into Pickaxe who find it daunting or just too busy. We just funnel them to the experts, and they can hire them at whatever hourly rates the experts are charging.
Yeah. So it's kind of a similar thing. It's two-sided, like a marketplace in that sense, where Ron, you would want to get set up on their experts platform and then do good work with helping people using Pickaxe, and then maybe like showcasing those certifications if you have one with any company on like your LinkedIn or on like work or other profiles or on your website, so that people see that you're actively like
Yeah.
involved with building this type of stuff out.
Okay. I see this from Travis here about pickaxeproject.com experts. So I will check that out too.
I need to go now, but if I don't know about you, Darby, but if you want to stay, you can.
Yeah,
I gotta get to in 5 minutes.
yeah, I got to wrap up here. If anybody has anything, otherwise we can head out. No need to hold you hostage.
I need to head out. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, y'all.